Good evening, Noreen McClendon again here with Free to Heal, where we come together weekly to heal the ravages of incarceration, whether you're formerly incarcerated, loved one, child of a formerly incarcerated person, or the incarcerated person yourself. We're trying to heal those ravages. And tonight we had another great session. Here are some session spotlights that I hope you pay attention to. So everybody, welcome to Free to Heal. This is where we come together every week, and where our goal here is to heal the ravages of incarceration, whether you are a person who has been incarcerated, whether you are a loved one, whether you're a child of someone who's been incarcerated, and we even had a corrections officer once to come and talk about her experience being a corrections officer. So our goal here is this is the 100 zone. We ain't telling no stories. We're not lying one to another, and we will call you out on your stuff, okay? Because the most important thing we can do is to be honest with ourselves about who we are and what's going on. And hey, come on, that's you. No, Mr. Terrell. Oh, okay. Well, I wanted him to check in before we got started, because we're going to also talk about his, we're going to actually do some stuff from a topic from his book tonight.
Oh, we are?
Yes, we are. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So you can go ahead and check in while you're here. Come on, check in. Talk to the people.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? And glad to see you guys again. For the fellas that got y'all books, man, I thank y'all for being there, and appreciate y'all accepting the book with warm arms, and hopefully you guys can read something to get something out of it. And
yeah, thanks a lot for the book.
No problem, man. Thank you guys for receiving it with open and warm arms, and hopefully you guys learn some things from it. For those that don't know, I'm Terrell Tillman from South Central Los Angeles. I did like 19 years in the feds, did juvenile time, been out 3 years myself, 3 and some change. I authored this book right there, Formula for Success. It's pushing the lines. Mostly everybody on this call got one by now. And I'm just out here pushing the line, man, helping the people. I'm the reentry manager at LACADA. So I'm active in the community.
And what's LACADA?
LACADA is Los Angeles Center for Alcohol and Drug Abuse. And they've been around for a while. So I'm finna bring a different component, that reentry component to them that they've been needing there. So like I said, I'm just involved in the community, trying to make sure people have their resources and things they need to come home and make that healthy transition back into society.
And I just want you to know ahead of time that Mr. Rufus said that he don't know if we're gonna be able to, come back like we did last week, because last week we showed out. So you know what I'm saying? So we gotta come with it this week, because Mr. Rufus over here said, I don't know if y'all can do that again. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm really glad you're here, because you know what I'm saying, we need some reinforcements from Mr. Rufus over here. He don't know I like a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with me. Tell him I ain't scared. Tell him.
She ain't scared.
Okay, thank you. There you go. Scared. We ain't scared. We ain't never been scared. We ain't been scared. But listen, I
ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
That's exactly what I needed him to say, just in case y'all missed it, okay? In his Bernie Mac voice. Okay. So one of the things, progressions and setbacks, is the topic that I picked from Mr. Terrell's book. And I think it's really a good topic tonight, especially because we have so many people that are we got a large number of people, this is their first time in the group. And one of the things that is kind of typical is progressions and setbacks. When you're doing this reentry process, things may go well. In fact, one of the ladies that I met a guy while I was being a rap groupie this weekend. Oh yeah, I was a rap groupie for the night. And he had done 27 years.
I was at the she wasn't a rap groupie, she was at the classic, Too Short and Banks. You know what I'm saying? He was classic.
MC8. Yeah.
Lord Banks. That's his name, Lord Banks.
So when but there was a lady named Stacy who actually has been on of all the MC8 stuff. And so she was there, and her guy had just come home. He had done 27. And she was like, he came home in October. He had a job by the next Monday or so. And he, he got a car. He did this, he did that. And I said, this is what I want you to understand. The fact that there's always going to be a residue from being incarcerated, whether it's a short period of time, and specifically if it's been a long period of time. That you may come out and things may go well for a while, but there's going to be at least some emotional residue. There will be some habits, things that other people may not understand, but those things are real. And I hope that you will pay attention to those and check in on the advice that we get from those people who have been through it. The thing that I love about this group is that people are not talking about what they heard, they're talking about what they've lived. And this is wonderful advice on the residue. It can be emotional, it can be physical, and there are things that affect all members of the family and the entire community. So I hope you'll pay attention to that. When the weird stuff start happening, keep my number and holler at me. Because even if it's just emotionally, there are going to be, you cannot be gone 27 years and nothing, and you don't have no residue. Oh, you just come out, everything is fine, and you all good. No.
You can pretend.
Yeah, right. Say that again, okay?
You can pretend everything's fine, but it's not.
It's not.
It's the inner.
I would have got me when I got out, I got in this program where I had a counselor because I was scared to talk to the people directly around me. I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel comfortable and nothing like that. So I would got me a counselor to help me with my management skills as far as on the street. No drugs, nothing like that. It's just twice a week. She calls me and we go through the therapy. But I needed that because a lot of anxieties that I didn't recognize was on my back. And you start, like Noreen said, you're gonna seem weird to the people around you, your family, your friends, even the woman you're sleeping next to. I slept on the couch before I slept in the bed because I rolled over and almost choked her out. Because I'm not used to 26.5 years in prison. I wasn't used to nobody in my bed. She rolled over and touched me in the middle of the night and I wasn't expecting it. And I pounced on her, so I slept on the couch for a while to give myself time enough to get used to being home. Y'all have to transition home now. You know, you have to find out what you like, who you are, that you're not me, J58030. I'm not him no more. I'm not that dude that's got to walk this way on the track. Now I can take my shoes off and rub my feet through the grass. But the simplest things in the world don't seem like the most trivial things. You know what I'm saying? So I tell everybody that just came home, you people that just came home, you three, find out who you are before you run to the family. Because you're gonna need that self-time to get yourself reintroduced back into society, because you are introducing yourself to your house, to society, to this new program. You're introducing yourself to the unknown. We thought we knew everything, but we don't, because all the stuff that they give you in the prison is not accurate. It's not. So you have to reintroduce yourself back to society in a way that's slow enough for your mind to comprehend without locking up, because you're locked up.
And also I see your hand, I'll come right to you. Also reintroduce yourself to yourself, because you need to find out who you're going to be on this side of the wall, okay? And with respect to, I mentioned when I went there to Solano about people even sleeping in the same bed. There was a guy, he said he told his wife, he said, when I get out, he said, no matter what happens, he said, if we've been in the bed being intimate or just watching TV or whatever, he said, do not touch me in my sleep. And he went on, he said, but I'm trying to, he said, she didn't understand. And I said, he said, I told her, do not touch me. And then he starts explaining why he didn't want her to touch him, because when he was in YA, it was a bad experience. Somebody was standing over him, and that required him to have to get down because they wasn't coming at him the right way. And so all of these years, he's been down more than 20 some years. And anybody, he said, he put it this way, he said, anytime anybody is close to me over my bed or touching me, it's a problem when I'm asleep. He said, that's a problem. Right? Huh?
Traumatization.
Yeah. And so he's saying, and he was like, so I don't know how to get her to understand it. I said, let me tell you something. I said, you just did it. You explained it to me. Explain it to her the exact same way that you explained it to us in this room right here. The key is going to be to communicate what it is that you're feeling. A lot of times, though, you're going to feel anxiety and you may not even know why you're feeling it. And this is where you're going to need the support of people around you. But it's very important. I told them and shared with them, and I may have shared with you guys before about the young lady that one of my first semesters at CIW, and she came home, she called me at my office, and she goes, Miss Noreen, I'm really struggling because my dude, you know, he takes good care of me. He likes to snuggle up under me and stuff, and it drives me crazy. She said, I don't like it. She said, I've been sleeping by myself for over 2 years. She wasn't even down that long, okay, for 2 years. But now it was problematic for her, and it was an adjustment for her to want him to be up underneath of her. And I was telling her, I said, hey, babe, I said, let me just tell you this, little mama. The issue is you, is not him. Men snuggle up under their women. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to feel the adjustment. If you want to keep that man and you say he's taking good care of you and you know he doesn't mean you any harm, you're going to have to make the adjustment, but you need to have that conversation with him. He needs to understand what it is. And so that's the most important thing. And ma'am, you wanted to say something.
When you said about the residue, so you can look like it and you can't look like it.
Can you guys hear her? Somebody shake your head, yes or no? No. Okay, so you're going to have to come closer and talk louder.
I said that the residue part. So I got a job when I first came home, but I had that thing in prison.
Make sure they can see her phone.
That they would say to me, you don't look like you belong here and stuff. So even when I came out, I had a friend that hired me, and he used to introduce me and say, can I tell him? Can I tell him? And I said, I've been 17 and a half years. He said, man, she ain't got no residue. But he don't know the residue is inside. It's inside. Yeah. And I still have the residue. And next month I will have been home 10 years. Right. So.
And you got on some fly glasses. Let's just say that for the record. Okay. Okay. We calling it like we sees it. Okay. That's fly glasses. And that's the thing. Even if it's not going to be physical changes, it's going to be, or physical adjustments, the emotional adjustments are real and they cannot be minimized. You can't act like it don't matter. Go ahead, Ben.
And the thing about what basically what we're saying is normalization. It's normal stuff that when you come home, it's different from the pen. I'm basically the same way right now. And I've been home 3.5 years. I'm the same way in my bed. I got a big ass king size bed, but it's like, you stay over there and I'm gonna stay over here. Give me my space. And then when I sleep by myself, I'm all over the bed. It ain't the rotisserie turn no more, because in prison it's the rotisserie turn. You can't turn the covers. You just gotta. It's like you on a rotisserie because that bed is so little. But we're basically talking about the normalcy of being home and the different adjustments that you have to make psychologically and mentally and emotionally and physically as well, especially when you're dealing with your spouse and somebody that understands communication skills and being open and verbally articulating this to whoever you're around is very important, because they don't know. They gonna think you weird, or they might think you tripping, but just explain to them, you know, talking in plain fashion. Look, I'm not used to that, babe. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to that. Give me some time. Let me make the proper adjustments, because I've been traumatized. I've been in prison. I haven't been in an intimate relationship with nobody. So this is all new. It might not be new to you, and it might seem simple to you, but even though it is a simple task, it might be harder for me because I haven't been doing that. I've been built to a certain way, and that's what it is. So I have to build up my skill sets and ability to change and grow into that. And it's going to take time. It ain't going to happen overnight.
The adjustments between prison, a halfway house, and from there to going home to your family. If you have a family to go to, one gentleman had suggested to us some time ago that he advocates for people to go to a halfway house at least for a while initially before they go straight home to their families. And the reason for this is that there are so many things that you're going to go through, changes, that you might be able to go through those changes yourself and make you more prepared and cause less damage to yourself and the relationship that you have with your family if in fact you get to spend that time in the halfway house, getting to know yourself again, getting to know who you are on this side of the wall, because it is not the same. I say it all the time. Who went into prison is not who's coming out, and who was in the prison can never be who they are on the outside of the walls, because that universe only exists behind the wall. It has its own hierarchy, politics, language, communications. All of those things are unique. It's similar to the military. So you cannot be who you were in prison because that universe and that language and so on doesn't apply. So it was great information about and a great suggestion to go to a halfway house for a minute before you go home to your family, but recognizing that there's also going to be another adjustment once you leave the halfway house and go to your family. So I hope you enjoy that part of the discussion as well. And one of the things too, that we had a guy was coming before, and he was saying that he really recommends, and this is for Armando. It actually is good that you are spending time in a halfway house before just going right home to your wife and your family, because this gives you an opportunity to adjust to society initially without, and then some of those things you'll be able to overcome before you actually go home. But know this, once you go home, then that's another whole set of adjustments, right? Because now you dealing with what's going on in that household. And I want to share with you too, because you do have a wife, and I've shared this with the group before. So those of you guys that have heard this before, please bear with me, but I really think is relevant to try to help him because he has a wife. And that is, your wife has been dealing alone and surviving and handling everything. And it may seem like she's trying to run everything, but the control is not what she's after. She doesn't even know a lot that she has. It's like, I get help. I have help. I don't even know how to use help because I haven't had help for 30 years or however long you've been married. I haven't had any help. So now I actually have some help. I have to even think to ask, oh, that's right. I don't have to do that by myself. Oh, this is another thing. I need to consider Armando when I get ready to go somewhere. So this wasn't a situation about incarceration. I just hadn't had a boyfriend for years. And I wound up living with somebody, and I would, after work, whatever I'm doing, I stay at work for a long time or whatever, and never even call him and say anything. He said, babe, he said, I'm worried about you. He said, and it occurred to me, damn, like, I'm not used to having to report my movement to anybody, because once I knew where I was, my whole family knew where I was. You know what I'm saying? It was, but it wasn't that I didn't want to. It just never even occurred to me. So be patient with her. Another thing that I shared with them at Solano is that there is a fear. And you know what I think? I got this from you, Miss Tony, about the fear of them going away again, of you being taken away again. There is a lot of behavior that, your loved ones, they'll be checking on you, want to know where you at, what you doing, what's your movements. And it's not about control. It's about one day they woke up and you were not there. When they went to bed that night, you didn't come back, and you didn't come back for decades.
And that goes for your whole family, your children, your mother, everybody in your family. They all have that thought process of you going back to jail. So it ain't nothing that they trying to control you. It just, you disappeared before, and I did it twice. I did it twice with my kids and my mother. So You know, my daughter, she was like, shit, I don't know if you're gonna be here again. I said, well, I'm here to stay, but that's something that we can't even think about. We don't even know, but that's what they feel.
Because you don't feel the fear as a person, as the person, because, and I also like to explain that nobody got up in the morning and said, I'm getting ready to take this, I'm getting ready to go out here and do this crime so that I can ruin the lives of my family, my kids, you know, my loved ones, and I want to be gone for them for the next 20 years. Another spotlight for tonight was the discussion about how family members have a fear that you will go back to prison. Nobody decided in the morning that they were going to leave home and not come back for years on end, but it's what happened. And so oftentimes family members, loved ones don't even consciously know that they're afraid you're not going to come back, but they are. And so it will cause them to do things like constantly be checking on you, calling you, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? Well, tonight it was interesting because it came out in our discussion that the former inmate also has a fear of returning to prison that is often not talked about. So just think about that. People are walking around with these fears of what may happen or not happen with a loved one, and we're not talking about it. And what is that doing subconsciously to the communication between the formerly incarcerated, their loved ones, and those members of the community? So I hope you pay close attention to that discussion. Then we had a great discussion about progressions and setbacks that was led by Mr. Terrell Tillman, who was our guest. He wrote the book Formula for Success, Reentry 030. And he talked to us about the fact that you're going to have progressions and you're going to have setbacks. No matter how you cut it, it is part of what happens when you come home, and it's part of the reentry process. It's normal, and what you should do when that happens. Nobody did that, but it happened.
Yeah, Noreen, one thing we also have to say is we, as the people coming back, have that internal fear ourselves that due to administration, due to the laws changing, due to having someone like Pete Wilson in there saying, well, I'm going to recall people. I watched the first 10 years I was down, people get brought back into prison because they said, oh, you had an incorrect parole date. Oh, you didn't serve enough time. I actually sort of got violated 2 years ago and had to go back and serve my determinate sentence on my commitment offense that they said they didn't compute properly. They wanted to violate me, but the judge said there's no violation. So what they said is, well, you have to go back and serve your determinate sentence on your crime. Because when I came in, you were supposed to serve that when you got your parole date. When I came in, you did your determinate sentence first and then started on your life term. Well, they switched it just because they needed to put another 100 people back in prison.
Exactly.
That's what we're afraid of internally, that due to no fault of our own, especially when we're doing good, of going back.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because and I'm gonna come right back to you, Tony, but a lady that was in CIW, she'd been down 20 some odd years, and she had a date, she was scheduled to go, gave away all of her stuff, only to find out for them to get and say, oh, well, no, we miscalculated your time and you got to do another 14 months. Okay. And so I it makes sense. And as a matter of fact, I was able to see her in Oakland this weekend too. She's been out a couple of years and she's doing really well. She treated me to the best seafood lunch. I mean, it was bomb, you know what I'm saying? So it was good to see her. And I forgot to mention that as a part of my good weekend, but I wanted you to go ahead and say what you were going to say about the fear.
Just that, you know, it is, I say this a lot, but it's an individual sport. And so you have, as the gentleman stated, you have your own set of predispositions as a person that's coming out. Your child has you know, on the other end, your child, your spouse, like the gentleman said, your family, everybody has their own perspective, and communication is so important because, you know, I went to sleep and everything was hunky-dory, and I'm 11 years old, and I woke up with the police knocking the door down and taking my mother to jail. And I was in a foreign land, you know, I was in another state, I was, you know, pushed around. So the fears that we're all carrying, we have to learn to communicate. I'm 56, and some of this I'm just communicating to my mother within the last decade. We're just communicating it to one another. And I think had my mother not written her book, I don't know if we would have ever gotten the opportunity to communicate to one another. So what I'm just summing up here is, if you have those fears, it's okay. And you need to communicate that information to your family. And it might even spark that conversation that was sparked between me and my mother, of having that opportunity to begin to tell each other about things that you've never had the perspective on.
Yeah. And it's really important, you know, it's one of the things, and I think, sure, you have talked about this several times, about how people don't want to discuss a lot of the things that happen. Some people don't want you to talk about it. Some people, like you, wanted to talk about what had happened. And she asked her family in the car, don't y'all want to know what happened, you know, while I was in prison or whatever? Because they weren't asking. Come on, come. And yeah, because I need to let you.
Exactly what I said to them. I said, don't you guys want to know what happened to me? I said, my girlfriend broke my ribs while I was in prison. They didn't ask me nothing. Mm-hmm. They didn't say nothing. But that's the reality of life in there, mm-hmm, for most of us, mm-hmm, and stuff. So people are like, I was in class at Southwest, and the guy, that was his big thing. When they found out I had been in prison, he said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. You have a girlfriend? I said, huh? He said, see, you real, you telling them, but that's what they want to hear. Uh-huh. But the thing is that a lot of people go in there, and a lot of people, you get those young girls who come, who are really pretty girls, and ain't no man saying, hey, baby, you so fine no more. So the first girl who says something like, you look good or something, yeah. Wow. Because they like that. They still want that attention. Wow. Yeah.
Well,
so they morph.
And now for me, the question with that, Cheryl, would be, do they get preyed upon because of that need? Is that something? No. Okay. They just feel that need. Okay, got you. Okay, because I could see that making them pray. I mean, just with my experience being an instructor and seeing some of what was going on in CIW, I could see that making somebody a prey. But that's good in the feds that it didn't happen. I still want to go back to, and I'd like to give you the floor to talk a little bit about the progressions and setbacks. Okay.
I want to say something before we get into that. It's crazy that you said that about people don't understand what we've been through in prison, and people don't give a damn, honestly. They just think that you home, and now you home. And it was crazy because I was talking to my oldest daughter yesterday. She was telling me about a situation that had happened to her that I was oblivious to. I mean, all the time I've been in prison, those 19 years, it was things in her life that she never shared with me, and I never knew because I was in prison. And when she told me the shit yesterday that had happened to her, it was like, whoa. And I said, I was in jail. She was like, yep. And it was like, damn, I missed on a lot. Our people have been traumatized and been through some shit since we've been in jail. And we don't have a clue about it. And vice versa. You know what I mean? And we've been through some stuff and they don't have a clue about it. So there's a lot of missing information and links to what's been going on in each other's lives. So you don't know what type of trauma your loved one's been in and been through while you've been in jail. Either they wasn't talking to you because they couldn't talk to you, or they just didn't want to tell you because they didn't want to upset you, or how you worried, or you just wasn't in communication with them. You know what I mean? And this shit happens. So
wait, but before you, so on that point, because I need to say this, is that for us, when we do get to talk to you while you're incarcerated, the last thing we want to do is spend that 15-minute call on burdening you with whatever. We know you can't do nothing about it. We know you can't change nothing. We know you don't need nothing else to worry about. We know you doing the best you can to survive in there. So we trying to, you know, give you the best of us in that 15 minutes. And of course, And we can feel you too. Right. So you guys can feel it and we can feel it. But again, we're still trying, and keep in mind this, I just had a flashback.
Interest of everybody.
I just had a flashback of the fucking recording. This call is being recorded. Motherfucker, I know it's being recorded. You done told me that 10 times. Every time you do that, you stepping on my 15 minutes. Shut up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But we trying to have a conversation. You interrupt me with that bullshit. We already know it's being recorded. You know what I'm saying? And so it's irritating. But again, that's interesting because it is something that we do. I know I can definitely speak for me. If it was something that wasn't absolutely necessary, that was bad, I just didn't share it because I only got 15 minutes of a call, you know, unless he got a cell phone. And even that, you know, that's limited because, you know, somebody might be coming, he might have to hang up in my face. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that goes on. But what happens is, and I'm thinking about your daughter in particularly, I'm thinking about being a daughter and how we process, well, my dad should have been here to protect me, right? And and how that can build resentment. And I remember you saying how your daughters was hard and pain on you.
I was dead for them.
You see what I'm saying?
I was dead. Fuck you, your family ain't shit. I had to take it on the chin, you know what I mean? Because they were speaking facts. You know?
And it wasn't something that you intended to do. You didn't wake up in the morning and say, "I'm gonna go do this so I can ruin your lives and subject you to all kinds of trauma and shit." Like that never happened. But the reality is that was still the result of the choices that you made, whatever day you made those choices. So it's important for everybody to understand that the communication. One of the first things that they wanted to talk to me about in Solano from my book was the issue of erectile dysfunction. And it was like, and I was explaining to them, listen, you got to talk to your woman about it. You got to talk to her about it. And this is the reason I bring it up now, is to say this, is that as women, when we don't know what's going on and why you're acting strange, we internalize that. We assume it's something that we're doing or something we're not doing. It makes us, and then if you're not saying anything and you're avoiding sex with us, we're assuming that you're having sex with somebody else. So all of these things get internalized, and it creates these holes in the relationship, these bridges that get cracked and things, where if it's just a matter of communication, then the likelihood is that the trauma is not being compounded. So we already lost you for however long we lost you for. Now you come home, you traumatized, we not talking about it, and we all trying to act like this shit, everything's okay. And it's not. It's clearly not okay, because everybody got something going on, and we all dealing with our internal struggles and fears about the situation. And thank you for giving me just a second to go back to that. But go ahead now. I wanted to give you the floor about the progressions and setbacks. Then we had a great discussion about progressions and setbacks that was led by Mr. Terrell Tillman, who was our guest. He wrote the book Formula for Success, Reentry 030. And he talked to us about the fact that you're going to have progressions and you're going to have setbacks. No matter how you cut it, it is part of what happens when you come home, and it's part of the reentry process. It's normal, and what you should do when that happens. No, that ain't for you.
Oh, okay.
Everything you
No,
No, I just wanted, I was moving it so I could move this closer so that they can see. Okay.
So the thing about progressions and setbacks, you're gonna have them. And, you know, for myself, it's like, you know, what am I gonna do? What's my goals? What are my goals? My short-term goals, my long-term goals, just as some of the simplest things. And when you have those progressions and you meet those short-term goals, yeah, pat yourself on the back, cross that line out, make another goal, and strive for the next goal. You know what I mean? When you have a setback, don't kill yourself. Don't beat yourself up. There is not a timetable or a time limit to have certain things accumulated or accomplished when you get out of prison, because you don't know what the hell is going on. You know what I'm saying? You don't have your own. You're not moving on your own. You're not doing all of the stuff on your own. So there's things that's going to happen And when they happen, come on in here, reentry guy. And when things happen and you have those setbacks, just pause. You know what I mean? You know,
It's a chair. Come on. Go ahead. We just had somebody else join us.
This pause and calm down. Don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean? Because things is gonna happen. Shit happens.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when shit happens, guess what? Buckle down, evaluate the situation, assess it, make the proper adjustments, and address it. The 3A system in there. Assess, adjust, and address. But don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna go forward. You're gonna progress. You're gonna progress. You know what I mean? And you're gonna have some setbacks. You might not have a lot of setbacks. That might not be nothing major, but don't let it bother you mentally. Because if you do, you're gonna beat yourself on it. You're gonna be stressing. You're gonna be worried. You're gonna be thinking you let somebody down or disappointing somebody. And no, people out here that really want to see you win, they understand and they're gonna tell you this. It's cool. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's not the end of the world. You still here. So don't worry about the setbacks that you might have. And then it's like I said, like if you got a timeline in your head or you got a calendar of things that you want to accomplish, just know if you getting them done in a certain amount of time that you plan, it's good. But if you still haven't accomplished those things and time is going by, give yourself more time because you got to be patient and allow things to happen to where you can meet that goal. You know what I mean? And then when you do, it's done. You cross it off. But don't beat yourself up because you didn't meet it at the timeline that you thought it was going to get accomplished because shit happens in life.
And it makes it causes me to say this too, is that everybody, whether they've been incarcerated or not, has progressions and setbacks. That's just a part of life. And the system is not necessarily designed for you to make it. It's not. And let's not be fake about that, right? That prison system is fed, that monster is fed by bodies. And they don't give a shit whose bodies it is. You see what I'm saying? And it's been added for a very long time. So what happens is it's in their best interest to get you to come back, okay? So they're not making it easy for you to make it work out here. So what you have to do is you just have to be clear about what you're doing, but know even the things that you don't know, that you didn't learn because you were incarcerated. The people that know them today, there was a day they didn't know either. My granddaughter has taught me some things about using my phone. And she a baby, she's 3, okay? But she's teaching me, okay? So just know that there's no harm in asking for help. That's the other thing that's really important. Don't try to suffer in silence and I need to man up and I need to be able to do this on my own or whatever. No, you need to ask for help, get the help. People are willing to help you. And that's a good thing. You wanted to say something, sir?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to speak. And then sometimes you're going to hear this and don't let it deter you. You're going to say that you're using prison as a crutch. You're going to say that I don't know something. And they're going to say that that's a crutch. Quit using it as a crutch. Don't do this as a crutch. It's not a crutch. You're really at a disabled stance when you come into society. You're just like a baby being taught how to walk, how to eat, how to understand. And then you have to teach that person how to treat you. In the same token, that you're learning how to treat yourself. Because with that moment that I got out 2020, and I swear that was the most hardest thing in the world, was just walking in Walmart and figuring out what kind of deodorant I like. I literally started crying in the aisle because I didn't know what kind of deodorant. And my lady friend that was with me, she looked at me and she was like, "Why you don't know what kind of deodorant?" Because all I did was mark off on the paper, sit in the window, and they kicked me out of deodorant. It wasn't about going to the store and seeing 15 different deodorants
right.
and gotta choose what kind of toothpaste, what kind of this. These things can drive you into a state of anxiety to the highest level within yourself, because nobody's gonna understand how a person after 20-something years is disabled to even shopping. The woman handed me the money, I dropped it on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Because in prison, you get caught with money, you go into the hole. So the keys, the money, the phone, these are things that really I found out within myself that I thought I could handle, but I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't handle it. So what I did was I developed a code word with my family, my mother, my father, and my friend. I developed a code word that when something got overwhelming, I would tell them the code word and they would stop what they're doing right there and they would walk me outside, because that means that it's getting too much. My worldly world is gone. I need to go out. I need to breathe. I need to get my thoughts together and let's regroup. Let's try this again. So don't be afraid to give your family this code word that's letting them know that it's starting to be overwhelming. Don't be afraid to tell them what you went, like Noreen and Brother Terrell. Don't be afraid to explain to them. My father, I sat down with him for 3 hours. And I told him, ask everything and anything that you want to know, and I'm going to be open. My daughters, I got 2 daughters that, like Terrell, they was hard to pay on me. They thought that I abandoned them like they wasn't, like they was trash. I had to rebuild a bridge that got wobbly. And I'm still building on that bridge. My grandson, he loved me because he's no pawpaw. But my daughters, they done been through the trauma of one day they was at daddy's house laying in the bed with him and going to the mall and spending money. I want ice cream, they got it. To we go to daddy's house and he ain't there. Mama, I want to go do this. Well, we can't because your daddy in prison. We don't have the money like we used to. So these things, you be careful with your children and allow them and tell them that everything that they feel is valid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't try to make excuses. In other words, don't try to justify any of it. You see what I'm saying? Just acknowledge it. And I think you said something last week that was important. You just listen. All you could do is just listen and take in what they're saying and understand that this was their experience. If I look at okay, so if you look at the back of this, right? I'm looking. What you see is a black phone. You see the hole here. This is what you see. But guess what? This is the same phone, and this is what I see. I'm looking at the other side of it. You see what I'm saying? But it's the same phone. It's the same situation, but this is the different perspective. I have a different perspective than you have. You see what I'm saying? But it's the same situation. So your perspective based on what you've been through is one thing, but their perspective is something else. And I recognize it's already after 7, and I want to give everybody that's on here an opportunity to have your last comments, any questions, anything you want to do. I want to give you an opportunity. And then the final spotlight that I wanted to highlight tonight is that every circumstance is temporary. Don't be alarmed about the fact that there are setbacks, that you make progress and things seem like they're going well and everything's falling in place, and then there's a setback. Well, if you think about that, that's just life. It doesn't matter whether you've been incarcerated or not. Set progressions and setbacks. Take a step forward, something happens. But oftentimes I've heard a statement that I hope you'll pay attention to and that it'll help you, is that a setback, if you look at it as a setup for the comeback, it's not so devastating. So I hope that you enjoy this session of Free to Heal, and we look forward to seeing you every week with us, and enjoy us. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. And I think I'm going to
say one more thing.
Okay, yes, but go ahead.
And I want to say one more thing to you guys. Listen, understand this. Everything that you're going through is temporary. Nothing is set in stone out here. It's all temporary. You know what I mean? So therefore, you got to keep going forward. You got to keep going forward. You've been in prison a long time. Guess what? That's temporary now. That's over with. That part is over with. Now, when you get a job, that job might not be your career. That's just a stepping stone. It's going to be temporary. You know what I mean? So the things you're going to go through, don't think it's just set in cement. It's temporary. And just look at it in that aspect. and keep moving forward.
And that's really important. That's a lesson for everybody. Being flexible, not being so tied and so rigid in what you think, the way you think everything's supposed to go. And I don't care who you are. The more rigid you are, the more pain and stuff you cause yourself, because everything is not going to go our way. Okay. And prison a lot of times causes people to become very self-centered. And it becomes necessary for survival at some level. But at the same time, when you bring that home, it becomes problematic because the world don't care nothing about what you've been through. They really don't. Like Terrell said, you know, your family may care, but at the end of the day, society at large doesn't care. And it's one thing that I had wrote this word down, and it's expectations. And I tell you guys all the time, everybody's going to have expectations for you and about you and what you do. The ones you got to pay attention to are your own. Okay. And when Terrell mentions, if you find that you have this time frame in your head of how things are supposed to go and it doesn't go according to that, that may not be a forget it, and it likely isn't going to do that. But what you do is you recognize that's just the way life is, and you keep moving. And depending on how important that goal is to you, then you determine what you want to do from there. So I want to come first because I need to holler at my boy Rufus and find out, hey, how we do, Rufus? You know what I'm saying? What we do? Where we at? Where we at on the scale? You know what I'm saying? How close are we? How close do we come?
Well, it's close, but
it's close.
You know,
okay. Close. I can take that.
You hit the 90 mark.
Okay, boss. I'm put that all day long. Any last comments? Anything you gonna take away from tonight?
I just like to say that, you know, I'm really enjoying this group, and I like that you know, what everyone said. You know what I mean? And you know, this group to me seems life changing. You know what I mean? And it's just reminding me to really stay focused and stay on my path. You know what I mean? And being reminded about, you know, the importance of when I do come home, and be patient with my family, and you know, allow them to like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I just say, just be patient with my family, you know.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we at least got a 90. You know what I'm saying? We may not have hit it 100%, but you know what I'm saying? I'll take that. I'll take that.
Right.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's what's
all
up.
Right. Okay.
Noreen, I don't want to forget this, but we have to share and communicate with ourselves just as much as we have to share and communicate with others. Ask for help. Sometimes you have to look at yourself and go, hey, self, I need some help internally. You know, you have to know yourself to be able to share with others, but you have to share with yourself. Sometimes I just go over what I did for the day or the week and say, oh, I did this, oh, I did that. And it's not that you're acting crazy talking to yourself, you're just verbalizing, so you realize that you really did it, and you shared, and you communicated with yourself and others.
And that's awesome, and that's great. That's good information to share with people, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
Well, first of all, I just want to let them know, thank you for the book. I appreciate it. You know, I was gonna send them a text earlier, but I started. I got caught up doing something else. Just to thank them. You know, that it was nice of him to come over here and drop it off. Other than that, I'm doing good. It was a good group, you know, and I think we hit it though. You know?
All right, wonderful. That's all right with me. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome.
And you know, Rufus, can you have Sarkis? Because I know is he able to unmute and speak, or can he do it on your phone?
You won't talk, please. There you go.
Okay. It's giving a little feedback, so having to mute and step away from you a little bit. Okay, how'd you enjoy the group, Sarkis?
Pardon me? What did you say? I couldn't hear you.
Okay, we're gonna work on your technology for the next week, okay? But thanks
I
for
can't hear you. Okay, I
all right.
appreciate
Thank
very
you,
much.
Mr.
Oh,
Taylor.
thank you.
Can you unmute Mr. Taylor?
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Hall. Go ahead. Yeah, your mic. Any last thoughts?
Who you talking to? Taylor can't talk to you right now.
Michael?
Oh yeah, for me, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed the group. It was good to see the Tillman come through last week. Take a picture with us and just showing us what people word mean, because he gave us his word. He was gonna come through. He was gonna pop up and give us a book. So that was very good. You know,
Wonderful.
and I enjoyed it tonight. Although we got a lot of people in our living room tonight, so it's a little distracting.
Yeah.
But I was able to get a lot of good information out of the meeting, and I started reading the book. And right now I'm on the first chapter, which is competence, and that's empowering. And I agree with Tillman on that. I believe that is one of the most important things you have to have in the body of confidence, because you're going to get a lot of rejections. So you have to be able to continue to keep going forward, knowing that you're going to succeed in whatever task that you're going to take on. I enjoyed the meeting. Thank Brother Tillman.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Enriquez, unmute for us. There you go. So, so how'd you enjoy it? How'd you enjoy the group?
I thoroughly enjoyed the group.
From it?
I did enjoy the group, and I appreciate the wisdom, and it all rings true, very true. About being patient with myself, being patient with my family being patient with me. But I will be joining this group later and next week also. I like this group a lot. This seems like this is one of the groups that's the most relative to me right now at this point. Yeah, so I'm picking up game, and
that's
like you
right.
said, those things,
that's right.
those things with my family and adjusting with my family.
Not a game. That's what we're here trying to spit for you.
Right, I appreciate it.
I don't.
I need Mr. I can't mute Mr. Sarkis, but his phone is kicking up a lot of noise, and for some reason it won't even let me mute him. I don't know how I can't do it. Mr. Steffens. Go ahead and unmute Mr. Steffens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way that everyone repetitioned today about life experience. You know, on Saturdays, I go to a religious counseling, and he gave me a book. And it wasn't a diary, it was a book that's called The Book of Remembrance. It's to write down and jot down everything that the Lord have allowed you to have. And that is to petition him, and that is to request of him, to being so grateful for the things that he has put forward in your life today. And I'm so grateful that you all talked about the different subject matters about coming out, being in, and about looking towards yourself about things that you can correct.
Wonderful. Well, it's always a joy to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Terry?
Hi, Noreen. How you doing?
All right. Anything you're going to take away from tonight?
Well, I kind of got everything. You guys really rocked the boat. I want to say for the book, and I believe in when you come out of prison, I did have no problem asking. I asked questions like you wouldn't believe. That was my number one suggestion. Is anyone coming out of prison? Ask questions. Go to your counselor. Go to your AA group. Ask people around your house. Who are you coming from? Where are you going? When are you going to get your Social Security card? all these questions. Yeah, don't be afraid. When you were afraid to go to prison, you're not afraid to come home. And be glad that you're free and happy and joyful, and do everything you can to help one another.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I'm always glad to have you.
It froze up on me.
Uh-oh, that's okay. I can hear you though. But thank you for being with us. Hey, Kit. You want to talk to me? Kittredge? Oh, there
Can you hear me?
I sure
Okay.
can.
Okay. I'd like to thank one of my young homies, because he is a young homie from South Central, for this Formula for Success book. And I thank him for letting me take all the pictures and stuff with him. Hey, it's good to see a little homie make it.
Okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, glad you could join us this evening too, Kid, as always, babe.
All right.
Let me see, Mr. Taylor, Richard Taylor. I see you there, but can you unmute?
Good night, Noreen.
Good night, Otis. Okay. I want to give the folks in the room. Sir, in the back, any last comments?
Hello.
Oh, wait. Oh, Mr. Taylor.
Hello?
Wait, we got Mr. Taylor. Go ahead.
Hello. Sorry, I was by the stove making chicken. Anyhow, thank you for the group, and I so relate to that guy that couldn't decide which deodorant to buy. That was funny because when I first got out, I didn't even know how to use a cell phone.
Right.
So it's challenging, but
It is.
you have to take
And
your
most
time.
people wouldn't even think anything of it. They would think that it's strange that you couldn't make a simple decision like that. But sometimes, because everything had been laid out, you didn't have a whole bunch of choices on what kind of deodorant to have. You don't realize that it can be overwhelming that now that you have all these choices.
Yeah.
So thank you for being with us, and I hope that you got something out of it, okay?
I certainly did, and I appreciate your group very much. The first time, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. Sir, back here, you were going to say?
Y'all just take your time and enjoy your freedom. Give yourself a breath of fresh air and understand that what was in prison, leaving prison, you got a new life. You got a new vision on life, and let that be your success. Don't be in the mirror, the rearview mirror. Look out the front window so you can see your journey.
Wonderful. Ma'am.
I would just tell you that patience is a virtue, and just continue to practice it.
Absolutely. Missy?
So this is the really important part, is that you're learning now what us who have been out for a while know. You don't know nothing when you come out of prison, especially when you've been long. So listen to the people. They're telling you right. Don't act like you know stuff because you don't know it. And that's not to down you. It's just you don't know what's going on in this world. We knew everything in prison. We knew how the prison ran, who ran it. We ran it. We did our thing and stuff. And then we come home and we don't run nothing out here.
Okay. Can they see you?
Yeah. So I've been home 9 years and I'm still a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you. Wonderful. And sir.
I just want to say congratulations, man. Y'all home. Stay focused. Don't let nobody damper your light, man, because this is where it's at. This is the real yard. This is the yard that matter. You know what I mean? And stay focused, man. Don't let nobody dampen your spirits, man. Keep your spirit up and lively and vibrant and positive. And fuck who don't like it. Straight up. This is about you. This is your life. Do you. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Because if the person want to see you win, you going to feel it.
Yeah.
If they don't want to see you win, get the hell away from them. Because they want to see you go down. You know what I mean? And they're going to be jealous of what you're trying to accomplish and what you're doing. So just stay focused, man, and have patience. Give yourself time. Don't rush nothing. You didn't rush a day in jail. Don't rush a day on the street.
Sir, we are blessed to have you to join us. I know it was kind of late. You want to give them your name and just any comments of what you were able to hear?
And let them know how much you did too.
And yeah, okay.
My name is DJ. My name is Devon. They call me DJ. I did 11 straight. I've been out 8 years.
Uh-huh.
And all I can tell you is, man, hey, take it one day at a time out here like you took one day at a time in there. Enjoy your freedom, you know what I'm saying, and walk your walk. You can't walk nobody else walk, walk your walk. That's what I've been doing, walking my walk. Quit my job, start working for myself.
Wonderful.
I'm a handyman, a barber, and a mechanic. And this is my best friend right here, the book writer. He called me whenever he got a problem, he know who to call. Car problem, he gonna call me.
Hey, no doubt. Certified.
Yeah. Enjoy your life. That's what I'm doing.
And this is absolutely awesome because I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here tonight. This is Free to Heal. You can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all social media. Please check out our other videos and also leave us comments if there are topics that you want us to discuss. Please let us know that. But this is Free to Heal, where we're trying to heal our own wounds first before we start worrying about other people. So we're glad to have you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
All right, everybody. See y'all next week. Welcome home to everybody. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.